And I'm going to start off talking about drop shot fishing. Who all in here has caught a fish on a drop shot before? So a good number of people. Who all thinks that they're an expert with a drop shot? Yes, this guy right here. I like it. I like it. I like it. But I tell you, I've been fishing a drop shot for a long time. Even back over 10 years ago, I've been fishing a drop shot, a shoot closer to like 12, 13, 14 years ago, somewhere in that range. I finished in the top 10 in a Bassmaster event. I think it was the top 5 up there on the Potomac River, and I caught every single fish that I weighed in on a drop shot. And one of the reasons that it worked so well is because I don't think that anybody else in the field was fishing a drop shot that long ago. And that was really a neat deal. But that just goes to show you, no matter how long you've been fishing something, you always learn newer things. And I've learned in the last couple of years a couple of tips on a drop shot that I'd like to kind of share with you, some of that stuff. But first of all, when you get going with a drop shot, I do about 99% of my drop shot fishing with a spinning rod. And I like the spinning rod because I've dialed in my setup. I like that spinning rod because I can make accurate casts. If I want to fish it, right there 3/4 of the way down the tank, I can make that cast. If I want to go all the way down the tank, I can make that cast just with an easy pitch as well because I'm comfortable with my rig and how I'm fishing it. But one of the things that I like is I like a little bit longer rod for drop shot. A lot of guys are fishing a 6.5 foot shorter rod. I don't like that. I just don't think you can get very good leverage with the fish because the rod is what you want to load up when you're catching them on that drop shot. And this is a rod that I designed for casting. It's called a drop shot rod. I know they got them on sale over there at the Green Top booth. But as you can see, it's got I don't have to put much pressure on it, and that tip gives a lot. And that's what you want on a drop shot rod. You want something that's more in line of a medium action. That's really what you want, that medium action, real light tip. And this one I designed, it's got a good backbone to it, but that tip is really soft. Because what that tip does is it allows you to fish that lighter line and not have those fish break off. Has anybody ever broke off a big fish on a spinning rod before? I broke a couple of them off. I can tell you, if you get the right rod and you don't have your drag set too tight, you'll be surprised at how big a fish you can catch on that smaller rod. I was fishing, I'll tell you one quick funny story about catching big fish on a drop shot. That was at a Kentucky lake. A ledge fishing, it was ledge fishing peak, 6, 8 years ago. And everybody had, big crankbaits, big 10, 11, 12-inch worms on their deck, football jigs with these big old horse trailers on the back. And I had a drop shot along with my other stuff on the front deck. And morning of the tournament, my front of my boat bumps around into Zell Rowland. Zell Rowland looks over at me. He goes, "I don't know if I'd be caught with a spinning rod on my deck in this tournament." I said, that's okay, Zell. I hear you. He had all bait casters out on his deck. So I got out there and get to fishing. I catch a decent, 14-pound limit in that first hour or two. I start bouncing around and catch a 4-pounder here, 4-pounder there. Next thing you know, I got a pretty good bag. I got close to 20 pounds. So I get on this spot and I caught a few fish. I felt like there was more there. I pulled out my drop shot, and I'm not kidding you. First cast for that drop shot I threw out there. I got a bite, caught him, caught the fish, hooked the fish, jumped, 7-pounder. Caught a 7-pounder on a drop shot, and I've been fishing power fishing techniques the whole time. And as soon as that fish jumped, all I heard in my brain was, "Wouldn't be caught with that spinning rod on my deck." That's all I could hear in my brain. So I got that fish in the bag. I get to the weigh-in line. Who do you think's in front of me in the weigh-in line? Zell Rowland. That's right. I said, "Zell, man, do you have a good day?" "No, not too good." Okay, I said, "Wait," he said, "I got maybe like 13 pounds. And he took one look at my bag, and the tails were hanging out the bag. I had so many fish in there. And that big 7-pounder was just hanging out the top of that bag. And he said, "How'd you do?" And I opened the bag up, and he looked in there, and he goes, "Oh, Lord." I said, "You see that big one?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I caught it on a spinning rod." He goes, I don't even want to talk to you. He turned right back around. He didn't say another word to me. So you can catch big fish on a drop shot in the right time, the right place. But yeah, again, going back to having that right action, you want to have that soft tip. Makes a big difference because when I go over the hook set in a few minutes, that'll hopefully all make sense. But this rod's 7'4". I like that longer rod, and you want a good spinning reel. I just say get as good as you can afford. Something with a nice smooth drag, and then this rod, the drop shot rod's got the little deal you can put your weight in there. I like it. It's nice and convenient, so your weight doesn't bounce around. But once you get the right setup, you need to put your hook on there. And a lot of people ask me, how do you get that hook to stand out like that? Well, once you tie your knot, I tie a San Diego Jam. That's the knot that I normally tie. You can look it up on YouTube. I got a video on there on how to do it. Take your tag in and put it back through the hook eye, so that when you pull on that tag in, your hook's going to stick out, and it's going to be perpendicular to your line. And you get better hookups and better bait action, and then you just cinch your weight right on the end. And one of the things that I've learned in the last couple years is that when I'm fishing a drop shot in less than 10 feet of water, you can catch more fish in certain situations when you drop down on your weight size. This is a 1/4 ounce weight. I fished a 1/4 ounce and sometimes a 3/8 almost exclusively. I can tell you I've got drop shot weights that I've had all over the country in their 1/8 ounce size. I took them all over the country because I never threw them until the last 2 years. I started putting those lighter drop shots on, and for some reason it seems like, I don't know how to explain it, but it seems like the fish in those shallower situations, A, the drop shot comes through cover easier, and B, they tend to bite it a little bit better. I don't know if it's just because it's a little more subtle, but as you can see with that 1/4 ounce weight, that thing gets to the bottom and it stays there, and it's just kind of planted there. Now, if I'm fishing a situation to where I want to keep the bait in one place, maybe I'm fishing vertically or a little bit deeper, I'll go to that 1/4 ounce or up to a 3/8. But if I'm fishing this shallow in 2 or 3 feet of water, I'm probably going to have an 1/8 ounce, if not slightly less, because I can work that 1/8 ounce, and my weight is not. You see how that weight is getting buried? My weight got buried into that stump, and it caused me to rip the bait off the bottom. And more than likely, I would probably get hung. If I take that 1/8 ounce and bring it through there, it just kind of feathers right through that cover. And I feel like you just catch a lot more fish with that lighter weight. So make sure you don't forget about using the lighter weights on there. And all the time I get asked by people about your leader length. This is kind of like a standard leader length. It's about 1 foot, 14 inches, somewhere in that range. That's kind of average. I would say in the winter time, in early spring, and in the fall through early spring, I like a little bit longer, at least this long, if not a little bit longer, maybe up to 24 inches. But after the spawn, I'm going to go back to this length, maybe a little bit shorter. And for some reason, in that early summer and summer period, I feel like a real short leader, I catch more fish. I don't know why, can't really explain it. It's one of them things, experimenting over the years. It seems like that shorter leader does real well for me that time of year. So as you're fishing, you go out there and you want to fish your drop shot, you pitch that thing out there, you let it hit the bottom, and I see people all the time, they go to shaking the mess out of that thing. They're just shaking it like no other. I have found you catch a whole lot more fish if you work that drop shot real subtle. You just want to kind of ease it along, and then the fish eats it, just like that right there. See, you can, that's exactly how I work it. I just kind of ease it along, just barely moving it. If I think a fish is there, just kind of barely move it, and then now I feel a little bit of rock, feel a little structure. I'm gonna slow my bait down, kind of give it that easy little shake. Then you're just gonna ease it down. I'm gonna drag it until I feel cover, and then just gonna kind of shake it real lightly, and that's when the majority of the strikes come. But yeah, the drop shot's been something that, like I said, I've been catching fish with on it for a long, long time. This little missile baits bomb shot, it's a bait that I designed for missile baits because I was fishing everything out there that's on the market, and this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted that small, compact. I wanted to have that ribbed body so it would get those air bubbles in it, and then I wanted that thin paddle-like tail. So as I'm shaking that bait, as I'm shaking it like that, you can see that tail kind of undulating, real easy like. And we came out with this thing last year, and I caught a pile of fish on this bait over the last year or so. Yeah, this little missile baits bomb shot. And as far as colors go, action is far and away the most important thing when you're talking about any soft plastic, especially a drop shot, since it's up off the bottom. But most everybody just grabs green pumpkin and goes out and have a good time. Green pumpkin's a great color. Green pumpkin's a real good color, but in drop shotting, I found like there's categories that can beat out other categories of color from time to time. I've seen times, my different categories are green pumpkin, no I'm just kidding, green pumpkin, orange, bait fish color, whatever that might be, and pink. I've seen times when that pink worm outfishes everything. I've seen, if you don't have orange in your bait, I feel like you catch a third of the fish you would catch if you had orange in it or on it. And then sometimes they just want a subtle green pumpkin. And you can, obviously with a green pumpkin or a watermelon red, you can take and put like a little chartreuse tip on it, a little orange tip on it. You can accessorize that color if you like.